The moment a body arrives at a crematory, a carefully controlled process begins, one that most people never witness and rarely think about in detail. Before anything else happens, the body is identified using a metal identification tag that stays with the remains throughout the entire process. This tag is fireproof and ensures that families receive the correct ashes at the end. The body is then inspected by trained crematory operators who check for any medical devices, particularly pacemakers. A pacemaker contains a small battery that can explode violently under extreme heat, posing a serious safety risk to both the equipment and the workers. These devices are removed before the cremation begins. Any jewelry the family wishes to keep is also carefully taken off and set aside. The body is placed inside a cremation chamber, professionally known as a retort. This is not a simple furnace. It is a highly engineered piece of industrial equipment lined with heat-resistant bricks, designed to withstand temperatures between 1,400 and 1,800 degrees Fahrenheit, which is roughly 760 to 980 degrees Celsius. The body is placed inside a cremation container, which is typically made of wood or heavy cardboard. This container is required both for dignity and because it helps fuel the initial stages of combustion. Once the chamber door is sealed, the primary burner ignites and the temperature inside begins climbing rapidly. The entire chamber reaches its operating temperature within minutes, and the transformation of the human body begins almost immediately. The first thing that happens is the moisture inside the body begins to evaporate. The human body is made up of approximately 60% water, and that water burns off quickly in the intense heat. The skin begins to tighten, blister, and char within the first few minutes. Soft tissues, muscles, organs, and fat begin to combust and break down. The fat in the body actually acts as an additional fuel source, which helps sustain the high temperatures inside the chamber. As the soft tissue burns away, the skeletal structure becomes exposed. Bones do not burn the same way soft tissue does. They require sustained, direct heat to break down, which is why the process takes as long as it does. The entire cremation of an adult body typically takes between 2 to 3 hours, depending on body size and the specific equipment being used. Once the soft tissue has been completely consumed, what remains inside the retort are the skeletal bones. At this stage, the bones appear white or light gray and are extremely fragile. They are not ash in the way most people imagine. They are calcified bone fragments that have lost all their organic material. The crematory operator carefully rakes these fragments from the chamber and allows them to cool. Any metal remnants, such as surgical screws, hip replacement parts, or dental fillings, are separated using a strong magnet or by hand. These metals are typically recycled through specialized programs. The remaining bone fragments are then placed into a processing machine called a cremulator. This device grinds the fragments down into the fine uniform powder that families recognize as cremated remains, commonly referred to as ashes. What families receive is not truly ash in the traditional sense. It is processed bone material, calcium phosphate, that has been reduced to a fine sand-like consistency. The average adult produces between 3 to 9 pounds of cremated remains, roughly 1.4 to 4 kilograms. The color can range from white to gray to even a slightly tan shade, depending on the individual's bone density and mineral composition. These remains are placed into a temporary container or a chosen urn and returned to the family. The entire process, from the moment the body enters the retort to the moment the remains are ready, is handled with strict regulation and documented procedures. Cremation is one of the most scientifically precise and carefully monitored processes in the funeral industry, transforming the physical body through the power of heat into something families can hold, memorialize, and carry forward as a lasting connection to the person they loved.